Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant, and I got my man with me.
I'm home.
What's up?
Here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm good, man.
You good?
Counting down to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. You going on out, huh?
Am I?
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I'm on a countdown. Got 2 more days. You did?
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
No, that's gonna be good, man. I think it's gonna be. Obviously, I know you're gonna be working your set out there when you get out there too, but it's gonna be enjoyable for you and Jess out there. Just having a good time.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And we got got the tickets and all that, but they sent another little email today about just like some, I guess like what they call like the Super Bowl or the NFL experience. I guess it's like a, you go by to see the trophy, all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking forward to doing all that kind of like having access to that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think you probably even do like some meet and greet type stuff that be going on with the players, or maybe you can see a practice or something. You know what I mean? Just little different elements to that access. I'm looking forward to that.
What that makes me think about is some years ago when and I don't want to say the award show because I can't remember 1 and 2. I don't even want to make it about a particular award show. But I remember there was an award show that was highlighting a community activist. It was like a community activist award.
Yeah.
And I remember you talking about how at that time, this was probably 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, that was the BET award.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Okay, yeah.
I remember that.
How they wouldn't allow the person to even speak. They just played the background music and showed them real quick.
Yeah, Curry,
and to see, how, I ain't gonna say how far, but like to see the progression.
Yeah.
Like now you being brought on the field at FedEx, they present you with everything on the field. They give you the honor of being able to go to the Super Bowl and not just give you a ticket to the game, but fly you out. The whole thing,
9, man.
The whole 9. That's good.
And do that from, like we said before, though, like every team did that.
Yes.
I think that's dope.
Yes.
Like for real. I think that's dope, man. Yeah, man, but not I remember that specifically with the BET Awards and the Jesse Williams.
Yeah.
He made a stellar speech. I just thought, damn, I never forget it was a dude from Milwaukee.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah.
Damn, let bruh say something.
Yeah.
Hey, you talking about stopping gun violence and helping the community. Yeah. You let Jesse what's his name?
Williams.
Jesse Williams come up there and give, he gave a good let bro who doing the work say something. Yeah. Shout his children out and his wife out, shout out his hood or something.
Yeah.
They just boop. Now, Jesse Williams.
It kind of reminds me of locally with the ANCs, how I used to be at ANC for like 6 years, and how ANCs would tell other members of the government, like, we are sworn in too.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, we
matter.
We matter, yeah.
We matter, yeah. So I do think that people are doing a better job.
Yeah.
And just like anything else, right? If you want to encourage, particularly like the next generation, to like get into doing certain things, right? You gotta you gotta hold those people that's doing that work up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To make a youngin say, oh yeah, I'm trying to do that. You can do that because of that.
I think now also the social profiles, the Twitters, the Instagrams, the people that are now, awarding community people and advocates, you can now see their reach, whereas
it's different.
So 10 years ago you probably couldn't. And now you gotta give it up.
Yeah, and for those of not all people that's working in the community have either access or proximity to, people that may be government leaders, politicians, celebrities, well-known faith-based leaders or whatever. But then in some cases you do. And so, the proximity to those people, to those celebrities, also can bolster the platform of that community person. And I think that in the last 5 years, definitely last 5 years, you've seen the social aspect start to become sort of beneficial for celebrities, almost too much. Because like I'm saying, in that same vein that we were talking about, where because like the entertainment and activism has always been hand in hand in the black community. You know what I'm saying? Going back to like, you know, people like Paul Robeson and all that. But just think about Dr. King and his relationship with Harry Belafonte.
Marlon Brando.
Malcolm X and Ali, right? But the difference though, what I've seen between then and now, particularly let's take Belafonte and King. Belafonte funded stuff, he came, but he never ever did to speak instead of King.
Right. Yeah, I think I was reading the other day about Mahalia Jackson. She actually traveled with Dr. King, several cities. Just I'm here with you.
Yeah, I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I'm not here to replace you or get access to what you can bring me in, and then now it's my thing. No, you are the star in this.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people, you know, hold that up. If you a major celebrity and you support a social movement or various activists, that's why, you know, I think it's big when Beyonce shout out Tamika Mallory. You know what I'm saying? Like Beyonce saying, "Don't make me call Tamika." That's huge. Matter of fact, quick story on that, right? Shout out to Tamika, right? A friend of my dad's hit me the other day, and she was like, "Slug, Tamika got the John on Anthony Hamilton album."
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Was she talking on Anthony Hamilton John? The friend of my dad's wasn't really hip like that. And she's like, "This girl, I'm listening to." So I guess she meant to my father. My father was like, "Yeah, you know, that Slug friend, like Slug know her." You know what I'm saying? So she hit me just like, "Oh, I was just so moved by." I was like, "Yeah."
She mentioned you on the album?
No.
Oh.
But for what Tamika's saying on the album reminded her of me.
Got you.
And she felt like she needed to share it with me. Like she didn't realize that I know Tamika. Like, have you heard this? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I was just explaining to her, giving her a little background on Tamika, and that I know Tamika, whatever case may be. But I think that's like super important. You understand what I'm saying? That, like, you know, for Beyonce, the Anthony Hamilton, Jeezy even got Tamika on one of his. You know, that's important. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's revolutionary for real. You know what I'm saying? That's groundbreaking. And so now when somebody looks like, say my father friend looked and say, "Oh, what that?" You can look and you say, "Oh, this is Tamika Mallory." You understand what I'm saying? Like, as a standalone person that's worth fandom, right? That people should be a fan of for what she does. And so, like, that's how we change the paradigm from, like, our younger people only seeing, you know, the rapper or the actor or the athlete as being something you should shoot for. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And but that goes to certain people continuing to center that person and not try to overshadow that person. You know what I'm saying? That person is a star in their own right, in their lane. And that lane is to be respected just as much as, you know, whatever the celebrity does, right? And I think that's what we've tried to stand for real. Like, you know, going back to when we did whatever turkey drive or toy drive. I don't care who you was, we love you, all that, but you pull up, you gonna take that turkey to that lady car, or you gonna take to help us carry these boxes, bro. You know, this is our show. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you our friend or if you here to support, then come support by being active. Just you being there is not the, you know, end all be all. And I thank God for, like, anybody who ever pulled up on us at anything we did that was a celebrity that didn't come in with their ego. You know, even
I can't even recall.
Yeah. No, we never had that problem. Even when their little handlers used to be trying, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was, you know, Raheem Devon or Wale or John Wall or, you know what I'm saying, whoever. Steve Francis for sure. My man was Big Fred. Used to play tight end for us.
Oh, yeah, Fred Davis.
Big Fred Davis, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, all of them always came and was like, "Yo, bro, what you need us to do?" And I love that. You know what I'm saying? That's how it should be. So, yeah, man. That inspired change maker thing that the NFL did this year, and I want to shout out Rock Nation too, because I know that they behind that. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's dope. You know what I mean? And it also centers, you know, things like criminal justice reform and gun violence and mental health and all of the things that people are fighting for in our communities, man.
Yeah. Real quick, so I do want to jump on to, you know, the topic at hand for today, but you saying a few things a few moments ago got me thinking about it. One, getting things right Beyonce, Rock Nation. Wanted to get your quick thoughts on Jay-Z's speech at the Grammys.
Keep showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, man, it was poignant. Somebody, all the homies always gonna say I'm biased, 'cause, Jay, my man. You know what I'm saying? But I think he did in that speech what he's always done. You know what I'm saying? Bring a perspective. And his intellect, his wit creates a range. That people from all spectrums can kind of get what he's saying. And he talked about the progression, right, of the Grammys, right, starting with Will Smith and them, and their boycott and his boycott, and them getting it, the Grammys continuing to not center hip hop, but then bringing it out like, okay, then I got my wife who got more Grammys than anybody, but yet she ain't never got album of the year. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? That y'all still got more growing to do, right? Even in it's like, I think what as you mature, what you also learn, I think this is a lot of what we've grown in and learned. You've helped me in this, particularly when we start talking about issues in our community. When you trying to find a remedy, right? That and we come from environments sometimes where it's either I love you or I hate you. Ain't no in between. We use terms like playing. We don't play 50. You know what I'm saying? You pick a side, stay over. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I mean? But in the real world, it don't really work like that, right? And so I think that's what you saw in that speech. Jay-Z recognizing that, because he said that, like, Grant, we love you, but you got. So we keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing you to get better, but I also gonna recognize how far we've come. You know what I mean? And that tidbit about keep showing up, I think, was just so foundational in where I think the mindset got to be. Anything you do, anything you change, the only way you do it, bro, is to keep showing up. And for this generation, I think more than ever, they have access to so much information, and everything is happening so fast that they think that's the way things work. But it ain't, man. You got to chip away at shit every day. And the only way you do that, man, is keep showing up. So I appreciated that. I love that the award was the Dr. Dre. Oh, you know what I mean? Did you? Yeah, I felt like that was hard.
I saw that, and I saw a wide range of response to it, right?
Yeah.
But what I took from it was that it does show how far we've come.
No, facts.
And I think that of all the artists, of all the contributors, I was like, wow.
Let me ask you something too. Cause like, okay, I don't think that award will be just like a hip hop award. That award would be like an icon. Right. So my point is that whatever, if, from whatever genre of music, whoever gets that moving forward, they will be getting the Dr. Dre award.
I mean, I know he's made a significant financial contribution to USC's music school.
Right, sure.
I'm assuming that the same is for the Grammys. I forgot the actual name of the organization.
Oh yeah, the Academy or whatever they call it. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that maybe there was some sort of contribution he made, and that solidified.
Yeah, bro. But it's
major.
What I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
that
major.
If fucking Taylor Swift get that award, that will be the Dr. Dre icon. That's huge.
Yeah, it's beyond huge.
Yeah, that's
beyond huge.
Yeah, bro.
It's just on so many layers when you look at the growth of people that come from inner cities who are artists and entrepreneurs and now billionaires, and they able to have their name on such a marquee award.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, also what I think is, whether it's Jay-Z or Dr. Dre, and what I hope people see is like, people grow.
Yeah. That's exactly it. People grow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People grow. But I remember, I ain't even talking about like, NWA days, right? But what NWA come on the scene? What, 89, 90, something like that?
No, a little before that, like 87.
Was it that early?
Yeah.
Damn, anyway, we were 7 years old.
Yeah.
But think about when the Chronic came out and how Dr. Dre was viewed. You know, the Let Me Ride Jones. Just think about how and what he represented. That the aesthetic, the profile, gangster rap, LA gang culture. You feel what I'm saying? And now that person, right? He's with the situation with the girl from Yo MTV Raps and all that. You go from gun charge, then you go from that though to having a Grammy award, a whole icon award named after you.
Yeah, not even for music, for like a person's influence in society.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when we be talking about
you couldn't have paid him to believe that would have been possible.
Nobody.
In 87, 88.
Nobody.
36 years ago.
Facts. And so, but then I hope that people can, if we can help our young people find their gifts.
There's some Dr. Dre's walking around right now.
It's no secret about it, bro.
Yeah.
It's no
to
question.
be Bobby then, you gotta be Bobby
now,
right?
It's right.
Yeah.
No, for real. Yeah. It's no question. And I think on his face, when we start talking about some of the issues that's happening in the community, that it's easy for people. If you ain't never been no young black dude in this city, it's gonna be difficult for you to see how I see it. And whether I was carjacking or not, or whether I was shooting at people or not, right? Whatever I was doing. But I was him. You was him. I know that, like, you know that it ain't just black and white. It's a lot of gray area with our youngins. You know what I'm saying? But people making it, you ain't never been him. You ain't never been in a house like his. Yeah. You ain't never been in a neighborhood like his. You ain't never went to a school like his. You ain't never been in a wreck like his. You ain't never did nothing that he do. You ain't never know what it felt like to be him. Or her, for that matter. You know what I'm saying? But I think when we look at them guys and where they come from similar environments, just I hope that gives us some hope. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we and others like us also can show our young people that they're extraordinary. They being, Dr. Dre or Jay-Z, they're extraordinary in what they do. But you got something in you that you can be extraordinary. It may not be that, but we gotta help them find that, whatever that is.
Speaking of that, let's get into what we want to talk about today. What you spoke about with Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, is about them doing the work to secure their future. And their future has become so bright that they couldn't even imagine the things that they now are able to benefit from. They reap the benefits of their work and their success. Right now, as we speak, this city is considering a secure DC bill, an omnibus bill, a large, robust bill of a number of statutes and initiatives that are looking to transform the actual safety of residents, but also the feeling of safety. And I've learned that there's a difference between safety and the feel of safety, right? Mm-hmm. There's some optics or things that are optical, right? And then there are things that are like concrete and substantial. Sometimes the optics are seen earlier. Substantial things take a little time to roll out. Yeah. Nonetheless, there's a lot going on with that bill. The first reading was today, and I know you spent a lot of time today looking at it and commenting on it in a live fashion. And I just wanted to talk today to kind of recap what that looked like from your lens and us to have a discussion about that a little bit.
Sure, man. Sure. Yeah, that first vote today. Yeah. You know what I mean? As we start there at the end, I mean, it basically got unanimous support. I mean, Trayon voted present, and I appreciate him doing that just in the sense of saying there's some things that he wanted to talk more about, things that he brought up during the hearing, but amendments that maybe ain't have time for them to work through. But, nevertheless, there was some things that made amendments like to try to get the record. What I was the most happy about, I've been a big proponent fighting for record sealing, and I love that it's not funded, so it wasn't supposed to actually go into effect until like 2028. But I guess to move it to this October 1 so we can try to get it funded earlier. To get that moving. So shout out to council member Janice Lewis George. And you know, we just spent time with her up at Roosevelt the other day too.
Great time last week.
Amazing. Shout out to Fallon too, and the whole Roosevelt staff. Yeah. You know, me, you, Angel, G, Mo, brother, you should moderated beautifully, man. It was great. But so shout out to Janice for introducing that. Shout out to King and Janice also for an amendment that was around, you know, the collection of DNA. They had it in the bill where every arrest for a felony where you would collect people's DNA.
Yeah, every arrest.
Every
Not
arrest.
Even conviction. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Arrest.
Yeah.
And for the public, I think the public gotta see everything. Everybody support everything till you under that. You know what I mean? Arrest.
But
like, you know what I'm saying?
I have to say this, right? I think that there is a portion of our city that subconsciously or consciously knows they will never be subjected to those things. Even if they're not even close enough to be misidentified.
Facts. And nobody they know. And this is the one thing that I'm so glad you said that way. Because, bro, when we get down to this is what you know about all of this bill, to be honest. This bill is for black people from here. Let's not make no mistake about it. And one would say, well, if they don't get in trouble, they don't got to worry. I get that, but it ain't that. It's not that simple.
And on top of that, what I've seen from people who try to combat your point, they'll say, well, it's to help them be safe too. Cool. We can accept that. But we cannot deny that not only does it really exclusively impact black people negatively, but there's a lot of room for people to be arrested, tried, and convicted wrongfully.
And it has happened.
It happens.
That's the part.
It happens.
You know, we do this like as if law enforcement in this country and law enforcement in this city has not made mistakes.
Or just purposely in some situations.
Literally. These things haven't been like systemic. We like to act like these things aren't like ever present, but they're ever present in our lives, not yours, right? And it's like another provision they did not necessarily amend yet, but I hope in the second one they do, where they call for, if a police gets accused of something, that police and that police's badge name and badge number can be withheld from the public. But on the opposite end, any justice involved person that catches any kind of new case or felony case or whatever gets held at the jail up until, you know, everything is situated, whether they take a cop, get convicted, or get found not guilty. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, I got a whole lot of pushback on that. But what does that say? Why withhold the name of a police officer and his badge number when they accused of something? Just like that person, the guy who get locked up again, he hasn't been convicted.
And they put his name on.
His name gonna be everywhere. He gonna go over to jail until his affairs is rectified without question, right? You know, sometimes, and we know this in our community, you just around something, you can get locked up.
And there was a fight back and forth about publicizing mugshots. I think it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now that we've got law enforcement involved, now we want to.
Yeah, and I'm saying, and I feel like personally, law enforcement should be held to even higher standard. So if a person gets charged, it doesn't mean that he's guilty. Then they came and you know, one thing I'm gonna say this too, man. You know, I don't know how much I really appreciated Chairman Mendelson's response to that. Like, you know, he said part of a bill they passed prior was like, but then you know, Councilwoman, Chairwoman in the Judiciary, Chairwoman Pinto brought up that Congress did away with that whole thing already, like a police accountability. Like what? Like so, but before Congress did away with it, y'all was trying to appease Congress. Even though for real, you understand, for most district residents, I don't think they support that. Why would a police need to be name and badge number need to be withheld anyway? And so you say that there's a public hearing, which the chairman acknowledged wasn't, in the past at least, publicized at all, but now you got a mechanism to publicize it. But if I don't know the officer's name and badge number, how do I even know when his hearing, how will we identify when his hearing is going to be up? That's one. But secondly, how do you rationalize by saying that's fair, or that, or is, because if you haven't ever publicized it before and you start to, people probably won't know where to go to even find out where you share that information publicly. Like, what does it mean to share something publicly?
And remember, just to go on a national scale, in most instances where there's been high-profile police-involved shootings where the victim has been without a weapon, it still ends up being, in society's eyes, that person's case, right? Prime example, Mike Brown.
Yeah.
I would put money on it that the average citizen doesn't know the name of the cop, Darren Scott, who shot Mike Brown.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would probably bet that the guy who shot Philando Castile, you don't know his name.
Facts.
Right? So even in an anecdotal societal perspective, we always end up identifying the case by the victim if it's a police involved shooting.
Yeah, for sure.
And they get to, I remember I had not an argument, but a debate with a friend of mine. And he was like, yeah, that guy that killed Mike Brown, like, his life over with. He never gonna be able to go nowhere. And I was like, one, you don't even know his name.
Yeah.
Two, they raised $600,000 for him the first week when he was off duty, right? And then thirdly, he don't go where you go. He not trying to go to the BET Awards or Freaknik. He not going where you going.
And yeah, because that's the four. That's the big four. The fourth one is really the big one. He a white man. Yeah. His life ain't over. He killed the young black dude. His life is not over.
And so I think we and I always, when I can, I push back when I hear people using the victims' names in those situations. Yeah. Now that's the Darren Scott case.
And that's not the Mike Brown. That's right. And I would also raise, aside from, like, if we look at that, like, that's the end of the spectrum, right? A police involved shooting where they kill somebody, particularly somebody unarmed, right? When they negligent in that way. And all police involved shootings aren't with unarmed people. They're not always negligent. I want to say that too.
Yep. Yeah.
But police officers in this city have been charged with trafficking, have been charged with drugs, have been charged with fraud. So it's not just, that's not the only type of misconduct, is what I'm saying, that a police officer can have. And so somebody took a sworn oath to protect and serve. Why would we protect it? And we're not saying that they're guilty.
And to be clear, the discussion you and I are having right now is in line with what publicly police have said to the community, that we will point out our bad apples.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're not knocking them. We're just doing exactly what you told us.
So if I'm on a council and I'm doing how does the sharing of the police's name and badge number that have been accused of anything, how does that help in saying we want to withhold that information from the public? How does that help secure DC?
Yeah, it doesn't.
You see what I'm saying? When you start that's when you wonder why people sort of lose faith in, like, or feel like the goal ain't really to secure all of DC. Why is that even in there? Why out of all the things going on in our city, why is that a part of this bill? How do you think that and then and if I'm on the other end of the spectrum, if I got a friend or a brother or father or cousin or sister, whatever, that had been previously incarcerated, the police came around their way and it was a gun in the vicinity and they took everybody, didn't get off nobody, but took everybody to jail that was on paper. And now that person over to jail till they see the parole board or till they go to trial for this gun or whatever the case may be. And you got his name out there. How do you think that make that family or that community feel? You see what I'm trying to say?
I'm thinking about a situation that I'm very familiar with where that just happened, like in the last year, with somebody that we know. And they were totally innocent. But their name was put into
There you go.
That just came to my mind when you were talking about that.
So it's like that stuff show up in our lives, and I get it, right? Do we want people that are repeatedly victimizing our community? They have to be held to account. Ain't no pushback on that. And what I think the public don't know, because they ain't where we are, when we trying to hold the line though. We trying to inform decision makers so that you guys don't make decisions that will have collateral damages that we've already experienced in our community again. Yeah. That don't mean we not in these same communities encouraging and trying to clear the pathway. It's so people can make different decisions.
Yeah, and informing them that this is coming.
Facts.
You posted a video today from 5 years ago where you said, listen, guys, I'm talking to the guys that might be in their life.
Find something else to do.
Find something. Yeah, it was 5 years ago today.
And when we in people's face, bro, we be really in their ass for real. Like, stop playing.
Yeah.
Paul. We be, you know what I'm saying? We really be like.
I'm gonna let you do.
Yeah, he gonna let me live in my face. Yeah, but for real, like get your shit together.
Yeah.
We be begging. Sometimes brought to tears, and people don't be understanding that. But it's people making laws for the world, in the culture, in the community that they come from. And then, you know, I think it's like this when it comes to black community, the black community and black culture. I think a lot of times, and even, let me make more specific, DC culture. Mm-hmm. It's like people don't want to say, I don't know. They think they can read reports. And even when you talk, you know, we talk to, well, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
How, matter of fact, because this is another thing, right? But of course, you know, as black people, we got, you know, all of us got the same experiences, you know. We definitely monolithic, homes. We ain't got no like, so I'll put it like this. If you're a council member, right, particularly council member that's not from Washington, right, and you do your whatever, your tour, or you do a meet and greet, you know, whether you're in Ward 8, Ward 5, Ward 7, Ward 1, Ward 3, a dysfunctional household not asking a council member to come and have a meet and greet.
Yeah. You
understand what I'm saying? So no matter where you go in the city, there is going to be a common thread in like what you're hearing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because it's some baseline level of stability.
It's going to be some distance from the real core issues.
It's no question. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about stuff that will wind up in the judiciary.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say that I did appreciate from Matt Fruman today, council member in Ward 3, new council member too, he brought up that he had went over to YSC.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he was saying how he spoke to some of the youngins. Or at least I think he was saying he spoke to some of the youngins. And he was saying that, you know, they were between, you know, 14, 16, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. But that he spoke to the hopelessness that he saw. And he also spoke to a lot of them reading on a third grade level, math on a third grade level. So when you peel back the onion, but this one of the things, but he talked about the people being rational players in this. And yeah, they are rational, but I think framing that in the sense of like they young minds and they not even on the level where they should be at that young age. They moving off impulse and emotion and misinformation. And I thought that was rich in the sense of like, yes, go talk to them. Go over to jail. We got the jail population up 30%. We talked about this like 3 months ago. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel safer with that?
Do you feel safer with that? But you got a captive audience. Go pull up over there. Yeah. Take the whole council need to go on Southwest 1 or something. And go sit in the block and talk to these guys about why they made the decisions they made. Like, I'm not saying that's not necessarily just to go and say this is not about lightening the consequences at all. But people need understanding, bro. You making these laws to a population that's going to impact a population that you are distant from. And what was unfortunate today more than anything, we talked about what happened in Congress. Like, Congress kept getting brought up. That we trying to make a bill so we look tough to Congress. I mean, so Coma and the House Speaker Johnson, all that, like, so they dictating what you doing in the because they gonna meddle regardless. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? That's just what they gonna do. They don't care what go on here. They want, if you know what I'm saying, they would like to have total control over the District of Columbia. So all that statehood talking, all that and this and that. And so we think appeasing them by weaving in their talking points while weaving in the, Republican ideology into our laws is what we should be doing.
Yeah. Let me on the record applaud you for your commentary in real time during this whole process, because we tend to speak on this show on behalf of people that have been have lost hope, some people that may be disenfranchised, some people that just are not keeping up, right? Yeah. And I think that different platforms where there's different types of information being disseminated, and the real-time conversation, I think, is happening. The real battleground, I think, conversations are happening on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Fact.
And there are a lot of people who do great research and they report really well, and it shows in the comprehensive tweets that they put out about topics like this, right? But there are very few people who have the lived experience in combination with the research that are speaking as consistently as you have.
I appreciate that.
And there's a lot of people, I think, that whether they retweet, like, quote tweet, or they don't, they at least see it in a very unique way. Your perspective was needed, and you did a lot of tweets over the last probably 96 hours about this. But it ain't obviously the first time you've been talking about it. You've been beating that drum for almost 2 decades now. It's just that now the conversation, the groundswell is bigger, but you showed up in a great way in that moment. So I don't know that anybody else will say that, but I think it's important, because I was on the move today, and I was looking at your stuff, kind of keeping up through you. And I think there are very few people that are as equipped to give it the way that you've given it online. So I wanted to really read through some of the things that you typed, because every tweet that you put out, that alone is a topic. And some people might just gloss through, but there's some things I want to read to you back, and I want to dig into those tweets a little bit. There's one from yesterday where you said, "We've displaced families, uprooted communities. We have one of the largest wealth gaps in America. White Washingtonians outlive black Washingtonians by 15 years. Black people from here are in the bullseye of every major issue. And we are and we are surprised this isn't Mayberry."
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack in that one tweet. And you had a day's worth of tweets like that. But again, you talked about the families being displaced. You talked about the communities being uprooted. You talked about the wealth gap. You talked about not just the wealth gap, but like the lifespan.
Correct.
Being over a decade of a difference between whites and blacks in the city. And then black people from here at the bullseye of every issue. And then we're surprised.
We surprised.
Right?
How could
Talk about that.
How could we be hopeful? How could you not have what we have? Yeah. Why are we surprised? Opioid addiction, gun violence, 95% of the people that were victims of homicide were black people. 95% of people that's ODing in DC got the highest overdose rate in America. We got the largest wealth gap. We got a record mental health, record homelessness, food insecurity. But this all is happening to black people. That's the only people that is really happening to when you look at the numbers. So what do you expect when we look at test scores? Most of the black children in the city, or a large amount of them, are not on grade level. So where's the holding of the head coming from? And then the response to that is just like tougher laws.
Yeah.
How does tougher laws change with the realities, those realities? We should be addressing those root causes. And so if you expect that would be Mayberry, if it was ever Mayberry, and I think Councilmember White actually brought up
Robert or Trayon?
Trayon.
Okay.
Brought up a point in reference to that where he was essentially saying it's been a crime crisis in our neighborhoods, but now that it's spreading past our neighborhoods, now all of a sudden everybody up in arms. You know what I mean? And it's kind of similar. I look at even the homicides versus the carjackings, right? So, and not to definitely never to, minimize any of it. But what I'm saying is, if we just looking at somebody getting their car taken for somebody getting their life taken, right? If we were, God forbid either, but if we were just to juxtapose those two things, carjacking is seen as something that can happen to literally anybody, and it's been happening to it. That ain't stayed just with black people.
Yeah.
And so really you've had this visceral response to carjacking that 267 murders and probably 260 that were black people couldn't create. Yeah. Because the murders ain't really happening to everybody. That's right.
I said this to you offline. I think you were in the room the day that it actually happened. But a couple of years ago, there was a public safety hearing, not hearing, but a press conference in one of the hearing rooms in the Wilson building. And it was a packed room, and a number of council members and other leaders spoke, and Councilmember Trayon White spoke. I think he had probably just been elected at that point in time. This might have been like 16 or 17 when this press conference took place. And in front of a packed standing room only hearing, he said, I could walk out of here and get shot today. And the look on people's face was like, what?
What is he talking about?
And then I could read people's eyes. Like, they were like, well, what type of life are you living where you would get shot? But what he was saying was that any of us could get shot.
And where he from, where he lives. Yeah. You ain't gotta be that's our growing up as a black man in this city, you know that's your reality. Yeah. And that's the thing where now people are alarmed because other people are getting carjacked or robbed, but every day of our life we can get caught. We know it ain't of we know we can get carjacked, robbed, and killed. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the thing where like today that is like that, but that's missing. And so in terms of people understanding, right, of like, and if you growing up in an environment where you know that, you knowing that from birth, you ain't just knowing that when you become an adult. You know, and it's almost like a when I was growing up, the old heads just say, man, self-preservation, #1 law, right?
Yep.
So these young men are growing up feeling a need to make themselves safe.
And nobody told them that, probably, but it's innate.
It's innate. It's human.
It's human, yeah.
To make yourself feel safe. And you know, even the line between, let me let you get back to the tweets, but like even the line between, I heard a statement about, it's like a narrative that I really disagree with, that people don't care about victims. It's like, what do you mean?
But you and I talked about this on one of the early shows in this iteration of Heart of the City. Do we see ourselves as victims?
But then, right, that's
do they see us as victims?
Are we ever allowed to even be a victim? But also, we also know that, because in a lot of the worlds, in the culture, the people they come from, there is a clear line between perpetrator and victim.
And that line is not clear.
That line not clear where we from. And in many cases, the perpetrator today was a victim yesterday. But when that person is a victim, back to your point, the system, the city, we don't engage them as a victim.
Yeah.
Could you, man, listen, bro, you know how many, do we ever, you know how many them guys who rob, carjack, or get shot, or shoot somebody, you know how many of them been shot before? I mean, young men walking around this town, a gunshot victim, bro. Yeah. Do we treat them like victims? You understand what I'm saying? And when we get victimized, we're causal in it. You get what you do, like you just said. When Trayon said he could walk in and get shot, people was thinking,
what type of life you living? Yeah.
Because guess what? When something happened to you, to us, guess what? We must have caused it. Yeah. Why would you get shot? Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
And what they're up against, they being the people that are in the line of fire, is a much different experience than some of the people making decisions could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you and I and so many others that are like standing, shoulder to shoulder with us intervening, they don't know the stories that, like you said, holding the line, right? I mean, I've had guys tell me, I hear you about putting the gun down, but I ain't about to get shot again.
Yeah, bro.
I done had guys tell me that.
I'm not getting shot again.
The next time they gonna feel it.
That's
it ain't
what
gonna
I'm
be me. I've had that said to me.
Yeah, me too. 100. I ain't going through that.
I ain't going through that. So I hear you, but yeah.
And the bigger thing too, you sending these people to intervene and interrupt and all that, but you ain't giving them nothing to change that person's existence immediately. You ain't giving them nothing. That's what I'm saying. It's a farce. You got the police department has everything at its disposal to carry out its public safety mission. You ain't giving these interrupters nothing, no guarantee. You know what I mean? And then you judging what they doing. When Robert White had the conversation with the two little girls, it touched my heart for them to talk about violence interrupters and safe passage people and the ones Olaf staff. Cause you hearing it from them. I ain't no neighbor gonna tell you what, you know what I mean, with no violence interrupters. These babies saying, man, they help us a lot.
Facts.
But they only can help them to a certain, point. Right? Because all these systemic things that's built in that create challenges and barriers. It's laughable sometimes.
Yeah. So one thing you've been weighing in on heavy recently, this number, and it's really been crystallized for me when you've been saying this, that many of our justice-involved citizens, up to 75% of industries, they're blocked out of DC because of their records and your fight and others fighting for record sealing, right? So I'm going to read this tweet with that in context, right? This tweet says that most people on here, referring to Twitter or X, don't think about economic opportunities because they have them. That's not an issue for them and the people they know. For me, it's the opposite. The people I know need jobs or better jobs or business opportunities. So with the context of the fact that a person coming home automatically when they get off the bus and go to Baltimore, for the halfway house, and I met a guy yesterday on the clean team, Rhode Island Avenue, 4th and Rhode Island. I forgot his name, but shout out to him. Yeah. Really nice guy. He told me he's getting off the MARC train every day to go to the clean team, and they let him go early, an hour early, so he can make his train.
Back, right? So he can go to Baltimore. Yeah.
And 75% of the opportunities he's X'd out of, and what you're saying in this tweet is that most people that are commenting on these topics around securing DC don't realize that opportunities are just as important as the punitive piece.
It gotta be hand in hand. That's it. Right. That's it, bro. It has to be hand in hand. You even when you talking about the trickle down to the youth in our community, right? If the adults aren't stable, if the adults aren't working, if they can't model, if they can't get that young in that pair of shoes, if they can't pay for that kid to get the tutor, just the things, right? Can't feed their families every night. It informs, it actually births the people into criminality. That's how it works. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times when we come with that, first people thinking like, but but you're not around people that need all the people you know and talk to every day. They're fine. And I acknowledge that. I get that you want to feel safe and but I'm telling you that
I would love to convene, and I don't want to put this all on the council, right? But just leaders in the city, business leaders, elected leaders, whether it's the council, ANC, school board, I would love to have a series of discussions with them. I don't want to say behind closed doors because I think there should be some level of accountability for the responses too. But I would just love to be able to ask them, by show of hands, how many people have personal friends that are in your phone, your contact list, that are convicted felons?
Yeah. Right? I would love to know that.
How many times have you written a letter to somebody in a personal capacity?
That's right.
That's locked up?
That's right.
How many times have you Western Union somebody money that's locked up? How many of your family members, whether it be distant cousins or close in proximity, that have been justice involved?
How many of your friends unemployed?
Yeah.
How many times you visit somebody in the hospital
Yeah.
that from a gunshot wound personally, not in your professional capacity.
Man.
This stuff is important. You're making how many of your friends, on it. Now they might got some friends that's on it for real, but strung out though.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Where you on the dais and
Yeah.
their phone
And they hitting
dialing you.
Fact.
And I gotta hit you back on the hand. Because guess what? Some of our elected leaders do go through that, and you got to understand why they vote the way they vote, because they dealing with that.
They dealing with
their
that.
phones are ringing during the hearings from people like that.
This is what I'm saying.
And they shouldn't be blamed for that.
That's right. Or judged for that. And for real, if you let me tell it, and this may sound way crazy, but I'ma say it. When they talking about them committees up there, bro, the judiciary committee is forward facing. Most agencies that fall under the judiciary, you know what I'm saying, is forward facing to either serving, well, let's say serving in all of them serve in their capacity. Serving, they serve the entire city, but majority of all of those agencies, their target, right, their audience is black people from here.
DC.
Point blank, period. When you delve in that joint out and you got like 4 black men from here and a black woman from, well, you got 2 black women from here.
Oh yeah, yeah, 2, yeah, 2, yeah.
Right. I'm sorry, and that no disrespect to Councilman Pinto, no disrespect. Charles Allen had that committee prior to her. But I think we got to think about that.
Yeah, at least has an impact. And if we, how do we build around it if we feel like that's a deficiency?
Yeah, because like I'm saying, like for real, like that, I think that really should matter. Like it really should matter. The other thing is like Charles Allen said something, and I tweeted about this, something that I really appreciated, and I don't mean to rush ahead, but just when he talked about this is something that the public needs to know. I think it was incredible the way he put this. Some of our laws, or most of our laws, we have really strict laws. Yeah. DC has really strict mandatory minimums that outpace a lot of red states. People need to know that. But just because you lock somebody up for something, you have to charge, prosecute, and convict, bro. It's not just, I said he did it, he goes to jail for but we have strong laws, bro. Our laws are not fluke. They're not weak. We know too many of our friends in front of them done a lot of time.
Yeah. You're going to jail.
You in this DC sends you to jail, bro. All this sort of we soft on crime thing, for real, that's not accurate. It's not. It ain't accurate, bro.
There's no, we said this months ago, but there's no ending of the story where I just got away with all the crime and I just never got.
Come on.
It's not one man walking around that we know
ever
that was in life of crime. And I just skated it. I'm now 50. I got a house in Upper Marlboro. They ain't never get me.
Come on, bro. That's why I took issue. Now there are some cases where somebody goes and reoffends and kills somebody or shoot somebody. Yeah. You're like, dang, they had him. Why they let him go? All right. But we also got impacted by the pandemic. All those things played a role in that, right? But when I read the report that came out that David Muhammad and them put out the other day, and for him to put in there that most people have been charged 10, 12 times or arrested 10 or 12 times, that sends the wrong message. Just because you got arrested, you're a black man in this, you can get arrested. You understand what I'm saying? That those arrests, the public interprets that in a way I think that's unfair to the system.
And we forget that if you arrest someone and you try them and they get off somehow, that there's also a chance that the government didn't do their job in the case.
But like, that's the part, again, and this bill kind of gets at that. Now, there's loopholes, that there are gaps in our system that need to be filled.
Right.
And I think this bill took a shot at doing some of that.
Yeah.
But I think it goes too far in trying to make up for not the best police work.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can't make a but nobody wouldn't dare say that the police aren't doing the best job they can do. Nobody ain't gonna dare say that.
Yeah.
So
and I think we're not suggesting that they aren't, but if that were the case, you can't even see it as being possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you make a law that say, if they say, oh, we ain't been prosecuting these cases because when we looked at the body cam, the report in the body cam footage ain't evening up. All right. So do you make a law to say, oh, now they can look at the body cam footage, or do you make a law to say they need better training on how to take notes, or better training on how you engage in a way where it's probable cause? And if it ain't probable cause, then you don't engage. Like, for real, this is what we up against. So like, which one is it, right? And what I saw a lot of is the aforementioned, where it's like, oh, the police saying this is why, so automatically we're gonna just change the law to say it's up to their discretion on who they choke and who they chase and who's dangerous and who looks dangerous. It come on, like that's dangerous to our community. That might make you feel better, like it's secure in DC, but that's actually making our communities less safe.
Let's talk a little bit about closing the gap between law enforcement, prosecution, the community's understanding of what's going on, right? There's a tweet where you said, I told U.S. Attorney Graves he should have his staff touring all middle and high schools talking about Title 16.
Facts.
There should be an entire campaign aimed at educating our youth on consequences, not to scare straight, but to educate.
100%. Councilman King McDuffie convened a meeting up at AU. Chairwoman Pinto was there. U.S. Attorney Graves was there. AG Swab was there. Dr. Richardson, Dr. Mitchell, Marcus Ellis, a lot of people, folks from PDS, a lot of people. I can name, it was a few more people, the chief judge from Superior Court. And I told him then, I said, man, if this when I was already, I knew this was coming. But if we moving in the direction of that, and we've seen evidence of that, right? More of our youth are going to be charged as adults. We know that, right? I feel like it's important for us to go and we educate a lot of them. I've been in schools. I've been in the school setting, and I'll ask, hey, somebody tell me what Title 16 is. First, I ask, tell me if you know somebody. I ain't saying if you. Tell me you know somebody that's robbing and carjacking out here. Tell me if you know what Title 16 is. Not a hand go up.
You know what I think about? And this is really sad. They become all too familiar once they become Title 16. Yeah,
but it's too late then.
It's too late.
That's my point.
It's too late, yeah.
Right, so and if we know that we've already adopted and we've made a determination that this is what we're going to do, I think it's incumbent upon us as leaders, and particularly out of the U.S. Attorney's Office, but maybe even us. I mean, we try to do it in our capacities and, working with youngins, but there has to be a real strategy built around educating our youth. So at least, if nothing else, they know if I go and do this, this is what's going to happen to me. Because if we do it, to your point, when, they just find themselves in that situation, at least inform them. And I feel like that's the duty and the responsibility of the leadership in our city. But nobody, like that, they need to do that. That should be in the Secure DC bill.
What would you say to a mom who says, you brought the U.S. Attorney General to my school? Yeah.
What you trying to say?
Are you trying to prepare him for it? What would you say to that, though?
I would say, our city, our youth, this is not about, we want to arm each kid with that information. It doesn't necessarily have to be for them. If we came to school and we taught sex education or say no to drugs, you wouldn't say, your kid might not be having sex, but you want your kid can have that information and they can share the information. The kids learn best peer to peer. That's how people learn, but mainly children. They learn peer to peer. So that's what I would say to a parent. We're not saying, but that's why I say all schools. I ain't say just come to Ballou and Dunbar and Kramer and Johnson. Nah, go to every school.
Every school,
Yeah, go to every single school in the district, and not just public, charters as well, and share that information, because you want kids. And I think it should be a social media campaign. That's why I said a full campaign. It should be in subways, on buses, to talk about just simply defining Title 16.
It's really an extension of don't get taken. It's just being more specific.
Facts. Don't get taken.
Yeah.
And if we that should be a built-in, and I feel like that should have been in Secure DC. Yeah, to push that, to mandate that. Yes, we are making our laws tougher for young people. And we know that a lot of these youngins, you rob somebody, when I was coming up, bro, I remember when I was coming up, if it was murder or attempted murder, that was the only people getting Title 16. Today, armed robbery, just robbery, carjacking, things like that, even probably some theft eventually. They're going to be charging youngins as adults. All I'm saying is get them some information, educate them on what the consequences are. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna keep on. It ain't gonna be the AG's office prosecuting you. No, you know what I'm saying? You 15 and up, 15 to 9 months. I think that's when you eligible for Title 16. And again, I've tested this, bro, in these schools and these, asking these youngins, do they know what Title 16 is, bro? And they don't.
This was one that I thought it sparked a lot of thought in my mind. It's about accountability. Speaking of accountability, will our leaders be willing to resign if things don't get better after this bill passes? The emergency bill was supposed to make us all safer and stop our public safety issues, remember? If this doesn't work, then what?
Tell him. Stand on it. If you tell me, because we keep going deeper, if, again, this is the thing with the public safety piece. There's always, like, people feel like when something don't work, we just do more. You understand what I'm saying? You got a $500 million police budget. It ain't enough. That ain't working. Then they need $1 billion. I'm being, facetious on that. But you get what I'm saying? Oh, if holding people at the jail pre-trial don't work, then what we do now? Anybody on supervision? Do we just lock them? It's just where do you draw the line? So it got to be some accountability when people continue to propose these things that can be harmful to our community. You know what I'm saying? In a deeper way, particularly without doing something to open up opportunity. And I really want people to, because when you stare in these videos, these IG posts, or you get up on that dais and you say, we're doing this to make, man, we seen this playbook before, bro. And maybe I'm hypersensitive, and I think I'm traumatized by that when they get up there and affirm that this group of people, deserve to just go to jail forever and it's gonna get better. It's not that simple. So do you put would you vow not to run again?
Yeah, would you stand that strong that it's gonna work?
Well, you say I failed.
Yeah.
Because my thing is like, okay, then just tell me. I'd rather you say, listen, man, this joint in crisis, which we all know. Man, we trying to see what works. Say that. I can actually respect that. But don't get up there and tell me that you know for a fact that this what needs to happen. And because of these things not happening, this is why we are where we are. Because somebody is saying that from their interest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and how would you know that? You ain't even been here. How you know that? How you know what work here?
What came to my mind over the last couple of days is that, this is a very robust piece of legislation. Again, it has a lot of initiatives in it, a lot of changes, amendments, the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
And there are two things that come to mind. The first is something that the drum you've been banging for a long time, is that where is the sense of urgency when it comes to opportunities and putting together a robust bill to make sure that we can take 50,000 unemployed people and, get them through screenings or whatever they got to get through to get them in a position to be employed or at least closer to it, right? And the second thing I think about is, the opportunity, but then one's the opportunity, but then secondly, we've been pushing for a public health approach to responding to violence for a long time. The NEAR Act, Neighborhood Engagement Achieves Results, that legislation, which was back in 2016, there's been a lot of advocates talking about the fact that whole bill has not been implemented, right?
Yeah. And
I wonder how fast will we track the implementation of this bill in comparison to that one?
Man.
And if we do that, does that mean we were capable of implementing the NEAR Act? And we just chose not to.
I'm telling you, well, you just answered that. Actually, Councilmember McDuffie sort of alluded to that.
Okay.
What he did, though, he gave Chairwoman Pinto props for the way she went about developing the omnibus, not only implementing a lot of things from her colleagues, but doing it in tandem with the executive so that it is funded out the gate. Because he was saying it was parts of the NEAR Act that never got funded, even up until now,
right,
that has not been funded, right? And saying that hopefully she learned from the mistakes that happened in the past to build this that way.
Let me say something real quick. Kind of, it's related to this, obviously, but it's a lesson, I think, for people watching, the general lesson. Sometimes you have to take on problems big enough where it becomes everybody's problem and then everybody moves.
Yeah.
So to that point of her teaming up with the mayor, right? This ain't got nothing to do with politics right now, but just in general.
In general.
Sometimes your problems have to be big enough where it's somebody else's problem too.
Yep.
And then it gets solved.
And the reality of it is, this issue of crime today is everybody's problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, when the NEAR Act came out, it wasn't everybody's problem at the time.
Y'all want to help them niggas.
Yeah.
That ain't everybody's problem.
Yeah.
Even when it was. It really was. It really was this problem.
Yeah, but people thought it wasn't.
It really was this problem.
And that was only 8 years ago.
It's the same problem.
Yeah, it was
you
only
feel
8 years
me?
ago, yeah.
You know what I mean? And because we didn't get it right 8 years ago, them guys' little brother is taking your car from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Them guys' son taking the car. I mean, this is the thing. This is what we trying to say about how this stuff connects.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But this approach, and you go at that the other approach, but you don't fully fund it. But this approach, you fully fund.
I'm curious to see how fast we'll track
Lord,
all the things in this bill.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what we really saying is, come on, let's do both.
Yeah. And we can
do both, and we should be doing like both approaches. But yeah, that was a very, Kenyon actually alluded to that, and I know that I have not agreed with a lot of the approaches or the things that's in this bill, and I didn't appreciate I think some of when I tried to engage with Chairwoman Pinto, to a certain degree, not feeling like, some of the things that I, wanted to share was received or whatever the case may be. With that being said, one of the things that I think was a constant, and I don't think it was just like they were just saying this as a matter of like decorum and professionalism. I do think that her colleagues really appreciated how she brought this bill to bear, and tried to get input from and I'm saying, as whether I agree with the stuff that's in the bill or not, more I want to acknowledge that as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that people are like intentionally malicious, but I think people got to really understand and do their due diligence on who they should be listening to as well, or who they should be working with. You know what I mean? But that piece, that tidbit that Kenyon brought to bear, talked about as it relates to this bill, and how you just said that, man, that's really, 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 really deep to me. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get to tackle something that's so big that it becomes that.
Yeah. I saw this story one time. We always laughing offline about be watching the Grant Cardone videos, right?
Yeah, yes, your man.
But
Yes, your man.
he said once, when the 08, 09 sort of collapse happened, he had a $40 million loan out, and the banks came and got it, and he had to, find a way to pay it back. He said, if I had a $400 million loan, it'd have been our problem.
That's right.
Right? They would have tried to work it out with me. It wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
And so,
it's deep. That's like when Obama and them saved the car industry.
Yeah.
Couldn't let it.
Too big to fail.
Too big to fail.
Too big to fail. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's me.
It's too big, yeah. One final tweet I do want to touch on, and I think we've kind of talked about it, but it's worth reading it in its own sort of space. 95% of those incarcerated will return. What are they returning to? How will we prevent them from returning to the lifestyle they left? What is the plan for economic inclusion? That's where we should focus. And the judiciary has to participate in that remedy.
And I think they see that as being something for the workforce committee to focus on, or the economic.
Yeah.
But when the bulk of the people that we're trying to get into these opportunities are just as involved, the judiciary has to lead. The judiciary has to clear the path so that the Economic Development Committee and the Workforce Labor Committee can then in turn, work to create the opportunities. But it means nothing for them to create opportunities if, because of people's justice involvement, can't matriculate through it. And that's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. Not to mention that those people that are away, they're in the federal system. We have absolutely no autonomy over what happens to them. None.
Yeah. Their experience, the training, the exposure to opportunities, we don't have it yet.
None. And we can even say, we know, if it was ever any question about what the Bureau of Prisons is doing, we know more than any jurisdiction in America what is happening or not happening in the federal system. That is our prison system. Okay. People are coming home ill prepared to compete in the District of Columbia. But even if they were returning ready to compete, the way things are right now in most of the job market, they can't compete. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the kind of things that I'm trying to get folks to wrap their minds around. I see right now that Metro is asking the District of Columbia for $200 million. Right? What's our ask? Yeah. Okay, WMATA, we got $200 million for you, but you gotta hire returning citizens. Matter of fact, let's put it like this: you gotta hire district residents that come through the DC Infrastructure Academy that already exists, right? And we're gonna work with Metro, with WMATA, around a training curriculum, and we're gonna build your workforce for you. That's what you're gonna do for us for that $200 million. On top of the $200 million, we're gonna build your workforce. But no matter who those people are, when we build them, when they come through our continuum and they get our stamp of approval, you have to hire them. Yeah. Those are the kind of conversations that we should be having. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
I said I was going to finish with the tweets, but I think what you just said pointed me back to a screenshot you put on Twitter of a comment on Instagram from a previous conversation that you and I had.
Yeah.
It's a young woman. We were talking about code switching. We were talking about refining ourselves to be able to get in rooms, right? We were talking specifically about advocacy, but also rooms where there's opportunities. Mm-hmm. And this young woman left a comment under your post, and she said, "Good morning, good interview, but I'm a little confused on how you guys want us to go in those rooms. But just because you're a felon, you get stopped way before you ever enter. You could literally come with everything that people are looking for. But as soon as you let them know you're a felon, the judgment instantly kicks in. Well, at least for females it does." And then your tweet attached to that screenshot said, "These are the kinds of engagement and interactions I get. This perspective has to guide our policy and legislation."
120%. That's it. And I wanted to show that to people to know too. I ain't just firing off, bro. You know what I'm saying? I ain't just, at home, let me just say some wild shit on Twitter. I'm not doing that. Yeah. This rooted in people's real lives. She talking to us like I'm with y'all. But I can't do that. That's what I'm saying. How long? Because that's rooted in her hearing no multiple times, right? A lot. How long are we asking her to show up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me ask you real quick, just for background. Did you know her? Because I don't know the person.
Yeah, I know her.
Oh, you know? Okay, I got you.
I ain't realized that I knew her till I kind of clicked on her. I didn't know she followed on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I done sent her to something that she got denied for.
Got you.
Yeah, she said, I'm confused. That sounds slick. Yeah. Think about that.
And think about when people start to think that you and I are trivializing it.
Oh, my goodness.
Then you know they at their wits end.
Bro.
They know they tired. They tired, yeah. Because they give us a lot of leeway.
Yes.
They know we understand.
Yes,
so
and guess what? It's like, I believe in y'all.
Yeah.
But, you feel me? That's what I'm saying. It ain't, we got to live with, because I want to be able to say, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow and I'm going to send you to another job. You know what I mean? But that's not the reality. You see what I'm saying? So if God forbid, but if she chose to do what she did to get her in trouble again, you know what I mean? What we doing? Whatever her babies may need, or maybe she weighing out her welcome with whoever she's maybe staying with. These hypotheticals now, but these are all things we know our people be dealing with, and particularly when we talking about that. And for the people out there to say that they shouldn't have never did what they did, but she paid her debt for that already. Yeah. That's done. She handled that. And we talk, this is what I'm saying. That's why I can't believe in all this accountability talk. She's been held to account.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, now what? Yeah.
Should she be held to account for the rest of her life for something that she did? Oh, she already paid that debt. Yeah. That's how it is. All these things, sort of are intertwined where people don't think about it that way.
And you know what I've seen play out? This ain't even about race at this point, but just privilege. We will say she shouldn't have did it. And when our nephew or son or daughter do something,
boy,
if we have the leverage, if we have the privilege, we call in senators, we call in, university presidents. I've seen this.
Happens.
We call in council members that we've donated to. Can you write a letter? I've seen it.
Facts.
We just lose sight of all of those rules when it's us.
Yep.
They lining the letters up from all the prestigious people to go before that judge to get that slap on the wrist.
Trying to tell you.
If a slap at all.
If a slap at all. If a slap at all. And you got, in this city, bro, you got a juvenile justice system that's probably 98% African American. Same thing for the adult system, 95%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I've heard a stat as well to go even deeper about the nuclear family or the fracture of it, right? That in the juvenile justice system, that 98 to 99% single parent.
It's without question. And I would venture to say in the adult system, very much the same. Yeah. Particularly for people 55 and under. Yeah. Hey, bro, I'm telling you, even when you talk to young people, I know I gotta tell you, when you talk to young people, you very seldom hear the word father. Even from people that work with kids, when you hear when you talking about parents, you're talking about mom. You talking about their mother, bro. All of this is telling. All of this informs, where we are, and I think for every person in our city that's like the sister that commented, that's trying their damnness, man, to do the right thing. All I can say is hold on. We coming, baby. Trust me. Keep showing up. Keep showing up, man. 'Cause we gonna keep showing up, and Like my Uncle Boo used to say, we gonna catch a break some one of these days. You know? Stop, man, I swear. Cause it's bad. We gonna catch a break though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We don't got no choice, man.
One thing you and I are gonna have committed to, and we're gonna continue to do with this platform, is just continue to help polish our people.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Give them exposure to new ways to approach things. Give them, the opportunity to experience new things, whether it be through proxy with what we're doing or just encouraging them to do it as well.
Yeah.
And continue talking about these very pertinent discussions in a way that can hopefully enlighten them, inspire them, and equip them with what they need. I mean, this is really about heart of the city. Like this is really at the heart of not only who we are as a city, but where we are going to be as a city not that long from now.
Yeah, bro. Like you always say it's the information age, so we just try and share the information, bro. Yeah. Knowledge is power.
So the second reading is coming up for the bill. A lot of amendments went through, too many to even roll through on this recording, but the reality is safety, security, public safety is a big topic in this city. Has always been, but right now, very big. And we just got to be vigilant and be aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
So,
better be.
Until the next one, we appreciate you guys for always watching. We see in the comments a lot of discussions on the post that we're making related to these discussions, and I'm happy to see y'all tuning in.
No doubt, man.
So until next time, y'all take care.
Heart of the city.
Peace.